record to the computer. And now I'm going to share my screen. All right. So you know we have to start off with our brain teaser. So let me see. Wait a minute for some reason. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, yes. Yep.
All right, perfect. All right. So this is Emerging Concerns Amid COVID-19 Pandemic Part 5. We're probably going to get to Part 100 on this one. All right. All right. So we're going to start off with brain teaser. All right. We got a couple of brain teasers we're going to do today. All right. This one is right up Brother Nassim's alley. Which tire doesn't move when a car turns right? Which tire doesn't move when a car turns right? All right, and I will give you 3 minutes.
Which tire?
Which tire doesn't move when a car turns right? Uh-oh.
It's just one?
Huh?
It's just one?
Yeah, which tire doesn't move when a car turns right?
Back right tire?
The back right tire. Woo, sis. What was that, Sister Idea?
Yeah.
No, that is not it.
I was getting ready to say she probably doing wheelies.
She goes old evil Knievel. All right.
Let's see. Which tire
doesn't move when a car turns right?
Now look, y'all got an expert car guy right here, Brother Nassim.
Really?
Yeah, you got me on this one. Yeah. Let me think.
The spare tire?
Uh-oh, who said that?
Oh, there you go.
Who said it?
Me.
That's Sister Idea?
Trying again.
That was you?
That's a good one.
That was, wait a minute, that was Sister Idea?
Yeah, she said.
Go ahead, Sister Idea. She got it. Good job. Oh my goodness. So it was the spare tire. The spare tire.
Wow.
All right. Here we go. Let's move on. Here's our second one of the night.
Okay.
What does this mean? I write I. I write I. Oh, I got, wait a minute, I'm cheating y'all. I gotta start the timer over again.
Uh-oh.
I write I.
What does this mean? I write I. All right, at the 1 minute mark, I will give you a hint.
I write I.
I write I.
Well, you got me on this one.
Uh-oh.
I write it.
What did you say, Sister What does this mean? I write I. Uh-oh. 58 seconds before I give you a clue.
I'm right.
Uh-oh, Sister Idea with I am right. No, that is not it yet. Sister Idea didn't get it yet. I gotta watch Sister Idea. Uh-oh, Sister Saida.
All right.
Salaam alaikum, Sister Saida. Oh, her sound probably hasn't come in yet. What does this mean? I write I.
See if Sister Saida can get it. Wait for Sister Saida.
Sister Radea says she did her work for the day. She got,
Yeah,
she
cause
got
What are
the
you
first
talking
one.
about?
I'm not doing too good.
We're doing a
We're waiting for you to come on to see if you can get it before he shuts us down.
I didn't even. I didn't even.
All right.
Okay.
It's
Saida
a,
can
funny.
get it.
it's a
I don't see
saying.
it,
It's a saying. It's a popular saying.
but I don't see it.
Wait, what you say, Sister Saida?
It says, "What does this mean?"
I
write
right I. Right.
Oh, I write I. No, you got me there.
Oh, wait till y'all see the answer. Watch this.
Okay.
I write
I right I.
I write I. Oh, I write I. Like having to do with the eyes.
Oh, you getting warm, Sister Saida, but you only got 5 seconds.
It does have something to do with the eyes. I know that. I just got it. But I don't.
All right. The time is up. Y'all ready for the
Come on.
solution?
Let us see it.
What you got?
All right. The solution is. Wait a minute. I went to the
My
wrong
hand, I have
one.
2 coins that are newly.
All right. The correct answer is. Let me see. I am clicking all over the place. The correct answer is right between the eyes.
The eyes. Oh.
Oh, that's
Right.
funny.
Between
the eyes.
I would never got that.
OMG. It
All
is
right.
literally right between the eyes.
Yeah, well, you killing me with these, man.
All right. Here we go. We've been doing it with the kids today. They were getting them quick. They were getting them quick. All right. That one they had a hard time with, and the spirit time they did have a little hard time with that one. All right, here's our last one of the night. Y'all get a chance to
Last
redeem
one. I
yourselves.
missed a lot.
Here we go.
Only 2, Saida.
We only did two. Here we go.
Okay.
Last one. In my hand, I have 2 coins that are newly minted. They were just freshly made. Together, they total 30 cents. One isn't a nickel. What are the coins? What are the 2 coins?
Coins.
Okay, I gotta repeat that to myself. What he said. Well, let me get it.
Order it.
In my hand, I have 2 coins that are
Oh, one is not a nickel.
newly marked, minted. Together, they total 30 cents. Wasn't a nickel.
A quarter and 5.
What'd you say, Sister Idea?
Nothing.
You said nothing?
Yeah, they don't make coins no more.
Fake me out. Fake me out.
No, but it said newly minted. I thought they're
It
not
says
producing.
2.
Yeah, they freshly made. These are freshly made coins.
Yeah, but I thought they're not producing coins anymore. That's a trick, right?
Yeah. Newly
I
minted is
know
a
that's
clue.
right.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I have 2 newly minted.
30 cents.
This is outrageous. 30 cents. What is going
A
on?
quarter and a nickel.
No,
One
isn't a nickel.
isn't a nickel. One isn't a nickel.
It says 1 is a nickel.
Yeah, one isn't a nickel.
One isn't a nickel.
And it's only 2.
Newly minted, so that means it's something new.
Freshly made. They just made them at the mint.
But I thought they're not making. If they're not accepting coins,
You
why are
can't
they
have them in your
making
hand if they're just newly minted because they're too hot.
Nope.
You can't hold them.
No, it's definitely 2 coins.
It's definitely 2. Okay.
2
One isn't a
coins. What are the coins? 30 cents.
Y'all have 1 minute and 9 seconds.
Oh gosh, I love stuff like this. This is so Hmm. True coins.
2 15-cent pieces.
250. They got brother Nassim making up money.
You said they're newly
Yeah,
minted.
because you said newly minted, so I thought they knew to create.
No,
Yeah.
they're not new coins. It's the same. It's the same.
All
Same
right.
coins we got.
1 is a quarter.
30
1 is a dime.
cents.
Not a nickel.
All right, sister. Sister Alfreda.
30?
She said, all right. Here comes my sister. My sister coming in.
30 cents.
Wait.
Oh yeah, she good at it. Ask her.
Bashir. Her sound probably didn't come in yet either. Let me see.
This makes me upset.
The time is up. The timer just went off.
Oh, wow.
Bashir. Let's see if you can do a buzzer beater.
I don't know about that.
They said the question was, the brain teaser was, and they said, "Oh, you're good at this, Bashir. So you got a reputation. You got a reputation." Sister Radia got the first one. They were
We
stumped
didn't get any.
on the second. And this is the last one. In my hand, I have 2 coins that are newly minted. Together, they total 30 cents. One isn't a nickel. What are the coins?
If they're not really minted. 2 coins.
And I'm gonna give an extra 1 minute for Bashir. Since y'all said she's so good. Look.
She good at it.
You said they're newly minted. Maybe they made a 20-cent coin.
That's what
No,
we're saying.
That's what I said.
No, they just said that they're freshly made.
Right. So if they're freshly made, they can be any denomination you want them to be.
That's what we said, but it's
No,
not.
they're regular coins. Y'all try to be slick. Y'all coming up with all
Yeah,
kinds
we
of-
are.
They was like, oh, this was from space. This is a space coin. All
You
right.
got reals or something.
Star Wars money, huh?
Yeah.
26 seconds, y'all. 26 seconds.
Oh, we're gonna be upset after you tell us this.
Yeah, y'all gonna be very upset after I tell y'all that.
I know.
I can
know,
assure
I
you,
know.
Sister Saida, y'all really will.
I know. I'm ready.
We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up.
What is it?
Look, Sister Alfreda in a rush. She did the rest of the countdown for me. and then she said, "What is it?"
Now what is it?
Y'all are hilarious. Right, here we go, y'all. I'm gonna enlarge it for you. Here we go.
Put it right in our faces, huh?
Yep.
It's a quarter and a nickel.
But you said
What? That you said one wasn't.
We read that wrong.
Now watch.
you know what?
Listen.
And you know what? You know
One
what?
isn't a nickel. But
Yeah,
the other one is a
Because
quarter.
that's right. And that's right. And when we got to the end,
Oh,
I repeat that. I was
Oh, I
like, one
got you.
isn't a
I
nickel.
see.
One isn't a
Uh-huh.
nickel. That
Yeah.
was the key.
But-
The other one is a nickel. Yeah.
But I said a quarter and a nickel.
No, listen,
That's right.
listen. Sister Saida said, I heard Sister Saida say
I did.
quarter and a nickel. And then
Yeah,
I said to her, I said, one isn't a nickel. And
Yeah.
then she went off her
Yeah, I
got off
did.
her game when I said that.
Yeah. But
No.
later on, I thought to myself, one is a nickel. One is a nickel. Because the key was in there.
Yeah, the key was in there.
Yeah.
One isn't
Oh
a
my
nickel.
God.
The one that wasn't the nickel was the quarter.
right.
Right. It didn't say 2 isn't a nickel. It said
Right.
1 isn't a nickel.
Exactly. It didn't say there were no nickels. It just
Right.
said one isn't a nickel.
Right.
All right, I got y'all good with that one.
You
Woo.
sure did.
That was nice. That was nice.
All right, here we go, y'all. We're moving on, and I'm going to share something that Sister Saida shared with me. Sister Saida sent this to me maybe the day after the presentation, our last presentation. But check this out.
Yeah.
All right, it's from a date.
Ah.
All right, it's called A Match Made in Hell.
Satan?
Hi. 2020.
Please. Call me 2020. So where are you from?
Who?
Me too. Romeo, save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head?
Oops. Sorry, I hit the. Whenever I click, it'll pause it.
Call me 2020. So where are you from?
Who?
Me too. Romeo, save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me, Juliet. You never have to be alone. I love you, and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go big out of white dress. Love story, baby, just say
I just don't want this year to end.
who would?
So basically, it was Satan dating the year 2020.
Yeah.
The girl was supposed to be the year 2020. But the thing is that this is a regular thing with them in terms of dealing with occultic themes. All right.
But it's a regular, if you go on match.com, it's a regular commercial.
Right.
So they're getting bolder and bolder. In other words, you know how before they started showing two men together, now they're showing men together. They slip it into commercial, and you're like, oh, so now it's like bold, come out, Satan. You know, it's supposed to be cute and funny, but it's Satan.
Right.
But they're making it like a couple having fun, feeding each other. It's Satan, people.
Well, they're normalizing. They're normalizing.
Right.
Satan or Shaitan. It's just like they came out with that show called Lucifer.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
that show Lucifer is like they're trying to make him a hero.
Exactly.
Or make you have sympathy for him.
Exactly.
So it's
normalizing it.
Yeah, normalize it. Yep. All right. So I thank Sister Saida for sending me that one. But here we go. I want you to see. Did anybody see this? Democrat Representative Cleaver ended the opening prayer. All right. Did y'all hear about this?
No.
No.
Listen to this. Watch this.
May the Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace. Peace in our families, peace across this land, and dare I ask, O Lord, peace even in this chamber, now and evermore. We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. A man and a woman.
Did you hear what he said?
A man and a woman.
Man and a woman.
He said, like, a man
and a woman.
And a woman. So now they're trying the gender thing with the prayer.
Oh my gosh.
Just because it says amen. Now,
Right. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't even mean that.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But now, when you look at the definition of amen, it is.
As is. It is so.
So be it. All right. So he tied that into the gender thing, which is insane. These people are losing their.
They lost their minds.
They lost their righteous minds. You know, it's sad. It's really sad. All right, but now we're going back to our theme. Remember, our theme is it always seems impossible until it's done. It always seems impossible until it's done. So the first thing we're going to look at is this one clip here. All right, and this is from 2019. All right, 2019. It says New York ends religious exemption to vaccine requirements. All right. So in New York, you can't get an exemption for religion anymore. All right. So here we go.
Turning now to the measles outbreak across New York State, an aggressive move in Albany. Governor Cuomo is eliminating religious exemptions for vaccines for school children. Opponents are reacting to the law that is now in effect. This is where Diana Rocco is live in Williams with this story. Diana?
Shalene, good morning. This is immediately on the governor signing it yesterday. Lawmakers calling Williamsburg the epicenter for the worst measles outbreak this country has seen in decades. In fact, 2 yeshivas will remain closed this morning until they can prove that all students and staff here have had proper vaccinations. They were closed by the city health department yesterday. There have been 588 cases of the measles in New York City since last October. 75% of those here in Williamsburg. Back in April, the city issued an emergency order requiring everyone attending these schools to have vaccinations for measles, mumps, and rubella. They are still not satisfied that those requirements have been met. Yesterday, the governor signed this law that would ban religious exemptions as a reason for not immunizing, which has sparked protests in Albany from Orthodox religious groups who say this violates the most basic principle of the United States.
I've heard the anti-vaxxers theory, but I believe both are overwhelmed by the public health risk.
In the county where I live, in Rockland County, we have 266 confirmed cases. That means parents are really living in fear.
And these schools will remain closed until they can prove that all of the students and staff have had the proper immunizations. A student would have 30 days upon enrolling in school to present that documentation.
Now, in the past, you would have thought this could never be passed. But now it's passed. All right? So they got rid of their religious exemption for vaccines. So, like I said, these things are coming fast. You know, and some people are in denial of what's happening. All right, this stuff is happening. All right, here we go. Let me show you another one. This is from New Jersey. All right, this is what happened in New Jersey.
Tonight, the vaccination debate rages on in this country, even though we know
All right, now this is actually from 2020.
Vaccinations are safe and necessary. Lawmakers in New Jersey failed to pass a bill that would have eliminated.
Now, watch her play with the words. Watch her play with the words.
Debate rages on in this country, even though we know vaccinations are safe and necessary.
Even though we know vaccines are safe and necessary. All right? So they play that game. And that's what we go back to the thing about the media. The media wants to control what you think. That is their job. All right? So she's not even showing an unbiased opinion. She's saying they're safe.
Like she's stating fact.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Lawmakers in New Jersey failed to pass a bill that would have eliminated religious exemptions for school-required vaccinations. And a new poll shows support for vaccinations has dropped 10% in the U.S. over the past 2 decades. Meg Oliver now on what's driving the decline.
New Jersey is the latest state fighting over vaccination requirements for children to attend public school.
Now look at those people out there. Those people came together and they fought against it. They fought against their bill trying to end the religious exemption.
On Monday, thousands protested a bill that would eliminate religious exemptions. Goddess has never vaccinated her 3 children.
I feel like this is a fascist overreach of the government and taking away medical freedoms.
The new poll shows a 20-year drop in vaccine support among all age groups, the steepest, ages 30 to 49, at 12%. But 86% of Americans say vaccines are not more dangerous than the diseases they prevent. Dr. Hotez is an infectious disease specialist.
We're seeing a decline because of a rise in anti-vaccine misinformation coupled with political activity.
5 states have banned non-medical exemptions, including New York, which eliminated its religious exemption last year after measles outbreaks that started in 2018.
And the thing, remind me to show y'all what the media did with the measles vaccine thing. All right, just remind me to show that to y'all probably next week. I mean, next time we meet. All right.
Public health officials say vaccine rates need to stay high, above 90%, to protect those who can't be vaccinated, babies and those who are immune compromised.
Until we step up our level of advocacy and take down the fake information, the measles epidemics that we saw in 2019 are going to become a new normal in America.
The World Health Organization called skepticism about vaccines one of the top 10 global health threats in 2019. At a summit last month, they said more doctor training is needed to address concerns from the public. Nora?
An education campaign. Meg, thank you.
All right. So what you're going to see now is them even more trying to vilify anti-vaxxers and people that are against the vaccines, and you're going to see them try to vilify what they call conspiracy theorists. Okay, they want to make them seem crazy, and they want to make them seem like they don't know what's going on. All right, so they want to control the public's perception of those two groups, and you're going to see a lot of that in days to come. All right, but now let me stop sharing for a second, and then I'm going to reshare because I want to see. All right, good. All right, so I'm going to share again. I just wanted to make sure I could see everybody. So let me see. Nope, let me see. I have to do it again. Stop share. And what I'm going to do is, I got to cancel this first. All right, and I'm going to come back to this. All right, and now I'm going to reshare. And I'm going to share my entire screen this time. All right, hopefully this will, okay, perfect. All right, so now go back here. All right, it's still not doing what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Can everybody still see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, so now we're going to move on. And this next thing I'm going to show you really, really goes under that theme of it always seems impossible until it's done. All right, so here we go. Check this out. This was a bill that was proposed in New York just recently. Assembly Bill A416. Assembly Bill A416. This is for the 2021-2022 legislative session. It relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. All right, relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. All right, here we go. Bill A416, introduced by M.A. Perry. Read once and referred to the Committee on Health, an act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. The people of the state of New York, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. All right, Section 1, the public health law is amended by adding a new section to read as follows. Removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be dangerous to the public. All right, we read that part. All right, so it says the provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable disease. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease that in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health, resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality, the governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local health departments, may order the removal and or detention of such a person or of a group of such persons by issuing a single order, identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. Each such person or group of persons shall be detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by the governor or his or her, delegate, and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. A person or group removed or detained by order of the governor or his or her delegee pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall be shall be detained for such period and in such manner as the department may direct in accordance with this section. Okay. So right now, this is a bill that's being proposed. It hasn't passed yet, but like we said, they passed that one about religious exemption.
Yeah. Well, we have to fight it.
Well, see, the thing is that it'll start in New York, and then it'll go around to the other states.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is, if this passes, but under these conditions, it's a big chance that this might pass. And what are they saying? They are talking about taking people from their homes.
Yeah. Coming to your door. Yeah.
On when they said suspected cases. Okay. So they could just accuse somebody of having,
it doesn't have to be true.
Right. Right. And if they really want you, because they said they have to show proof. They have to show, undeniable proof that, you have this or you're a danger to the public. Okay. But this is what I was saying last week when I showed that clip with the people when they were showing that you would need a paper showing that you had the vaccine. One of the sisters, I said, well, this is very similar to like that movie in Casablanca where he said, well, you have to show me your papers. And one of the sisters said, oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Because if I have to show you proof, it's the same thing. That's the same thing that happened in Germany. They had to show proof, before they could do certain things, So very interesting. But here we go. Let's move on. So let's look at the person who worked this bill out. This is the man.
OMG. Always use one of us.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. This life is not a thing about color. It's about righteousness. Okay? It's about righteousness. Don't get caught up on the color thing.
Okay.
Allah or God tells us that he created us all in different hues. And he judges us on our righteousness, not our color. Okay? All right. So let's move on. All right. So here's a guy, and I'm gonna let you hear him talk about it briefly, this bill A416. All right. He's gonna talk briefly about it.
I got an email yesterday telling me about the proposed New York State law, Assembly Bill A416, New York.
which calls for the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to public health. Listen to this bill. To me, this is a scary thing. Quote, upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease that, in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality, the governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local departments, may order the removal and or detention of such a person or of a group of such persons by issuing a single order identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. Such person or group of persons shall be detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by the governor or his or her delegee and complying with subdivision 5 of this section.
So, I mean, by that, other facility, they could be talking about the detention center.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't specify.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Guantanamo Bay or something.
Go ahead. Yeah. Say it again, brother Nassim.
The Guantanamo Bay.
Right. But not even that. You don't even have to go.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. You
right.
Know,
remember, they were using some of those closed Walmarts for the migrant children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A person or group of persons removed or detained by order of the governor or his or her delegee pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall be detained for such a period and in such manner as the department may direct in accordance with this section. Period. Unquote. What this sounds to me like is if the governor says, I'm suspicious that someone has a disease that might be dangerous or communicable, that the governor has the authority, according to this bill, to arrest them, to put them in a detention center of his choosing for a period of time that is his choosing. And it doesn't even have to be a confirmed case. It can even be a suspicious case. Now, to me, this is scary because that's how Solzhenitsyn ended up in the Gulag. This is how Hitler rose to power. Mm-hmm. This is how Stalin ran Russian USSR. And it seems to me New York State is giving their governor, who is Andrew Cuomo, the authority to be this kind of tyrant, this totalitarian, as we've seen in other history. Well, Solzhenitsyn, we think he's mentally ill. We're going to put him in the Gulag. Well, Cuomo would have the authority to remove such a person or a group of persons and put him or her or them in a facility of his choosing for a length of time of his choosing.
All right. So I'm going to stop that there. I'm going to move on a little bit because I want you to see a case in Canada. But it's almost as if this system is following exactly some of the things that was done in Germany. Okay. With the Reichstag fire. And that was similar to the 9/11 thing. All right. So it's very, very interesting, but we can look at that a little more closer too. All right, so here we go. I'm going to move to the next thing, unless y'all want to see a little bit more of that. All right, so I'm going to move to the next one. Here we go. This is from Canada. And this, it says, police raid private gathering at Canadian home after neighbors snitch. All right. It's supposed to be like they could only have the people that were living in their house for a gathering. All right. So these people had a couple more people over, and one of the neighbors told on them, and watch what happens.
Il peut plus respirer, arrête! Arrête, il peut plus respirer!
Now, if you look in that back corner where you see that police officer with the white mask on, there's a lady out there that they took from the home. She doesn't have any shoes on. She's standing in the snow.
Calm down.
Okay, we're calm. Don't do that. We're people. Hey! Inside. Inside.
Non, lâchez-les, s'il vous plaît, là. S'il vous plaît, les gars, là. Hey, lâchez-les, là. Ils sont trois dessus, là. Hey, non, ils sont trois dessus.
Yeah?
Hey, ils sont trois dessus, là.
Get the out in there.
I know.
Jesus Christ. Ça va être pire, attends. You fucking make things worse.
No.
Yes.
They're...
What are you gonna do now? Stay there.
You have the shoes for the video? You have the shoes? You have the shoes?
Hey, c'est jour de l'air. Come on, guys. Hey, je n'ai pas le droit de tirer quelqu'un de la maison. Vous avez pas le droit. Moi, je vois votre sergent.
Avez-vous des chaussures?
Non, je n'ai pas tiré. Non, je n'ai pas tiré. Donne-y ça. Donne-y ça. Attends,
Now it says Donald Trump Jr. retweeted the video warning Americans that this draconian enforcing of COVID laws would be coming to America. Now, what we're seeing happening is you have the people who look up to Trump as a person that tries to uphold the Constitution. So these militia groups, that are really heavily into the Constitution and following the Constitution, they support him. All right? Because, that's what this country is supposed to be about, following the Constitution. Now you have the left that is, doing a lot of things that are against the Constitution. So that's where you have your big, giant divide. And that's why those people were going to the Capitol and doing all of that stuff, because they think that they're fighting for, the true American rights, because many of our rights and stuff are being taken away, So it's very interesting dynamic. It's a very, very interesting dynamic. But let me continue this so you can see the rest of this.
Oh my God. Moi, je vais voir votre mandat pour vous retarder. Non. C'est juste de collaborer. Hey, c'est quoi? Vous m'avez tiré en bas. On a sa caméra sur un tabarnak. Vous avez tiré mon fils. Écoutez, madame, si vous avez un problème, le sergent, il est en route. C'est tant mieux. Okay? Vous êtes pas d'accord au travail policier, vous avez des recours, vous les prendrez. Merci. Close the door. Close the door.
So interesting, right? Any comments or anybody want to say anything about that? Or what the last couple of things that we just saw, the bill, the A416, or this video from Canada.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen, they can't do everything overnight. What they do, they create an enemy, and then they do things step by step by step.
Exactly.
And then they put it in your mind that that these people are taking away your rights, when in actuality they're taking away our rights.
That's right.
It's a gradual thing. They say, oh, you can't be out by 11. Then you can't be out at 8. Then you can't be out. You got to be in by 6 o'clock. So it's always a gradual thing. And they use so much psychology, like the Germans did, and like they do here. They always talk about Joseph Goebbels, but we had the same thing here.
Right.
You know.
You're absolutely right, and that's what they do. They do it in stages.
In stages, right?
In stages.
Spoon feed us. Yeah.
Yep. So here we go. We're going to go on to the next clip because we can't. I mean, I want to, get to this, this COVID trail that I've been trying to show you, but we can't ignore what happened the other day on the 6th. All right. So here we go. Let's look at this. This is a guy being interviewed about what happened.
Can you just start with your first and last name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Thomas Barani from New Jersey.
Can you show us your hand?
Yeah.
How did you get that on your hand?
Well, we had stormed into the chambers inside, and there was a young lady who rushed through the windows. A number of police and Secret Service were saying, get back, get down, get out of the way. She didn't heed the call, and as we kind of raced up to grab people and pull them back, they shot her in the neck, and she fell back on me and started saying she was fine at school, and then she started kind of like moving weird, and blood was coming out of her mouth and neck and nose, and I don't know if she's alive or dead anymore.
And how did you get back out of the building?
Well, riot police came in and started ushering us out with their sticks.
Where did you enter the building and where did you exit?
Other side with the scaffolding. We tore through the scaffolding through flashbangs and tear gas and blitzed our way in through all the chambers, just trying to get into Congress or whoever we could get into and tell them that we need some kind of investigation in this. And what ends up happening is someone might have ended up dead, and that's not the kind of government we can have. People have to do something about it. I can't.
If you need any help at all, EMS is right there.
I'm not injured. It could have been me, but she went in first. It was one of us.
Thank you for telling us your story.
No, because this cannot stand anymore. This is wrong. They don't represent anyone. No.
So listen to him. He's talking. This can't stand. Any longer. They don't represent anybody. He's saying. All right. Now these are the people, like I said, heavily into the Constitution, and they're angry with their rights are being taken away, freedom of speech, and all of that stuff. All right.
Republican, Democrat, Independent, nobody, and now they'll kill people.
Who are you saying will kill people?
I don't. Police, congressmen and women, they don't care. I mean, they think we're a joke. $2,000 checks was a joke to them. There's people filming us, laughing at us as we march down the street at the Department of Justice. There's a man in the window laughing at us, filming us. And here it was a joke to them until we got inside, and then all of a sudden guns came out. But I mean, we're at a point now it can't be allowed to stand. We have to do something. People have to do something, because this could be you or your kids.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
All right. But let me say this to you. You always have to be careful with the media. Always.
Right.
The thing is, I want to show you why.
Well, Rashid, he admitted like 3 different crimes that he did.
Right.
That he did.
Right.
So they got his face, and they can easily trace you. If they have your driver's license, all they have to do is put it in the computer.
Right.
And then they can find out exactly where you live and come and get you.
And not only that, they have what they call facial recognition with the camera.
Yeah.
They can run it through and they can find you. The other thing is that your telephone.
Yep.
You there?
Tracking.
Right. The tracking has that location. It can prove that you were there at that spot if you had your phone on you. So there's a whole lot of different things that they're doing. They're even doing what they call the intelligent street lights, and these things, these street lights can actually film you and record your conversation on the street.
Like the ones that they have down on Broad Street.
Right. Or
I worked there, and I remember when they put those lights up. And I said, this isn't for decoration.
Exactly.
This is for something else.
Because in Las Vegas, they had those intelligent street lights up already, and it was a company out of Philadelphia that had designed it.
Hmm.
Very interesting. But here we go. Here, let's go to our next thing. All right. So this is just
This is crazy. That's a young guy too.
yeah. But the thing is, like I said, we have to be very careful. There's some things that I saw in this narrative that look kind of suspicious. All right. I haven't had time to really, really look into it because we're still dealing with the COVID trail. But I want to show you some things with this too. But let's go over. Let's look at the highlights of that day. All right. This is from the Today Show. So let me I didn't get a chance to spread this one out for y'all. Let me see. All right. So, and it's already been reported that a lot of these people that were involved in this lost their jobs. Yeah, they lost their jobs. All right. So here we go. Let's see what's happening with this one.
The images are astonishing. Rioters on the Senate dais in House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office.
See, and the thing that was brought up, I mean, because if you look at this.
That guy's been arrested. The guy that's sitting there in Pelosi's office, he's already in jail.
Right. Now, had this been us, when you compare these two protests, like the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd stuff, they had out, they had the military police out. What's happening here?
Dogs and horses.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. Look at the comparison to what happened this summer. The response to those people who were walking peacefully, and then you had this. Interesting. All right, now watch. Look at this.
It dies in House Speaker.
Let that have been one of us.
Nancy Pelosi's office, ransacking the hallowed halls of our government.
It's embarrassing.
Even replacing the stars and stripes with the Trump flag. It was an unprecedented culmination to a day that started with thousands of Trump supporters caravanning from all over the country to contest what they called a rigged election and to hear President Trump one more time.
We will stop the steal.
Apparently spurred on by strident rhetoric from the president and his supporters.
Let's have trial by combat.
The rally turned into a march at the president's urging.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Some of the protesters believing incorrectly the president was marching with them.
President Trump is actually leading the crowd.
Once at the Capitol, the crowd, which included members of groups Women for America First, the Silent Majority, the Proud Boys, as well as QAnon supporters, became unruly.
You think that this election was rigged, stolen, there was fraud?
Pushing past overmatched and outnumbered Capitol Hill police. Once inside, mayhem. Protesters became looters, turning the Capitol inside out. Sadly, 4 people died in the chaos, including 14-year Air Force veteran Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed as rioters attempted to break into this locked corridor. Just the day before, Babbitt had tweeted in part, "Nothing will stop us. The storm is here, and it is descending upon D.C." Her family writing in a statement, quote, "Ashley was both loyal as well as extremely passionate about what she believed in. She loved this country and felt honored to have served in our armed forces."
There's a family that's going to grieve tonight because of what got out of hand.
Stunned lawmakers on both sides of the aisle mourned the loss of life and rebuked the unprecedented breach from secure bunkers inside the Capitol.
It's a disgrace for anyone to tolerate anybody to come in and try to shut down our government.
When this whole thing wrapped up, there were rioters who were waving to cameras and taking selfies like they had done something great. I didn't see many arrests. I think we said there were around 52 that happened overall, but do we expect a wave of arrests to come?
But some of that lack of arrest may be because police were simply undermanned here yesterday, but I've covered protests in D.C. for a long time, and I suspect there will be significant additional arrests. There is so much closed-circuit television footage from the Capitol, video footage from social media and from news organizations, and some of that social media bragging you talked about will make it very easy for the MPD here in Washington, D.C. to track down these folks if they have the wherewithal to do so.
All right, Garrett Hake there at the Capitol. Garrett, thank you.
All right. So now I want you to see something else from that day, because Here we go. It says Capitol Police open gate for Trump protesters. DC lockdown riot coup in Washington inside job. All right, so check this out.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Now, if you were looking carefully, they opened the gate. They opened the barricade for them to get in.
Yeah.
And they just reached the Capitol again. People were wondering how the Trump protesters were able to get in so easily. Of course, their buddies on the police department helped them in. If you like content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button as the story continues to develop. Police officers are seen opening the gate for Trump supporters on Capitol Hill. Trump supporters stormed Capitol Hill as Congress held a joint session to count electoral college votes, which would clear the path to President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration later this month. Protesters entered the Capitol complex, and one woman was shot by Secret Service police. In a slowed-down version of the video, you can clearly see a police officer open the gate for the protesters. It appears the cops are literally escorting them in, while on the other side of the building, they were pretending to hold them back. Some suggest the cops were clearly in on it, but others say it looks more like a protester taking a picture with a cop. Do you think the police officers opened the gate for Trump rioters? Sound off in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just reached the Capitol again.
All right, so something's not right. You know.
That's what I'm holding my tongue. I don't. Antifa's all in this, and also, I don't believe. I just don't believe what I'm seeing. I know better.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But like I said,
It's suspect. It's suspect to me.
We'll look into it more after we finish with this COVID timeline. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's do a quick review. All right, because I want to go back to the Tuskegee experiment. Okay. It says the Tuskegee experiment was an infamous clinical study conducted by the U.S. Public Health Service between 1932 and 1972 in Tuskegee, Alabama. This was done to analyze the natural progression of untreated syphilis in poor black men who thought they were receiving free health care from the U.S. government. It was then known as the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male. Public Health Service investigators working with the Tuskegee Institute enrolled in the study at a total of 600 impoverished black males from Macon County. 399 who had previously contracted syphilis before the study began, and 201 without the disease. These men, who were for the most part illiterate sharecroppers from one of the poorest counties in Alabama, were never told what disease they were suffering from or of its seriousness. All right. It says researchers told the men they were being treated for bad blood, a local term used to describe several ailments, including syphilis, anemia, and fatigue. In exchange for taking part in the study, the men received free medical exams, free meals, and burial insurance. Although originally projected to last 6 months, the study actually went on for 40 years.
Oh, my God.
Okay. At the start of the study in 1932, there was no proven treatment for syphilis. But even after penicillin became a standard cure for the disease in 1947, the medicine and any information about it was withheld from the men. In fact, scientists prevented participants from assessing syphilis treatment programs available to others in the area. When several nationwide campaigns to eradicate venereal disease came to Macon County, the men were prevented from participating. During World War II, 250 of the men registered for the draft and were consequently ordered to get treatment for syphilis, only to have the Public Health Service exempt them from receiving. Right? Somebody want to take the next one?
Say.
They did the same thing in Guatemala.
Right.
The same type of program.
Right. All right. Does anybody want to read the next slide?
I'll read it.
Go ahead, good brother.
The Tuskegee scientists wanted to continue to study how the disease spreads and kills. The data for the experiment was to be collected from autopsies of the men, and they were thus deliberately left to degenerate under the ravages of tertiary syphilis, which can include tumors, heart disease, paralysis, blindness, insanity, and death. As I see it, one of the doctors involved explained, we have no further interest in these patients until they die. Animals.
Wow.
Right. Now they've been doing all sorts of experiments for a very, very long time. All right, for a very, very long time. All right, so now I want you to hear Dr. Fauci. Here's Dr. Fauci, and check it out. It says, Dr. Fauci pleads with skeptical African Americans to trust the coronavirus vaccine. Woo! They disabled it. Let me see if I can. Maybe I can do it like this. Yeah.
Python's where it's at.
Right. We can do it like
almost
this.
anything with it. You know, you should take this online Python bootcamp course on Udemy.
So
a lot of people are skeptical about.
They're actually blocking that one. You have to go directly to YouTube. Very interesting.
Wow.
All right. So here we go. But check this out, because I'm glad it's still up. So I'm going to enlarge the screen so that you can see it full screen. All right, here we go.
The vaccine, some because it was developed so quickly. A lot of people are skeptical about the vaccine, some because it was developed so quickly. But for some African Americans, there might be historical concerns. It dates back to the 1932 Tuskegee study. Researchers were looking for a cure for syphilis. The study included nearly 400 Black men who had the disease and 200 that did not. Instead of giving the penicillin treatment to participants with the disease, doctors studied their decline of health until they died. In 1973, a class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of participants and their families. The U.S. government paid out $10 million and gave lifetime medical benefits and burial services to all living participants. Dr. Anthony Fauci addressed the concerns. He says he understands, but believes the vaccine is safe because Black scientists were at the forefront.
Oh my God, I think we're stupid.
In my institute's vaccine research center, by a team of scientists led by Dr. Barney Graham and his close colleague, Dr. Kizmekia Corbett. So the first thing I want to say to my African American brothers and sisters is that the vaccine that you're going to be taking.
My African American brothers and sisters.
Oh boy, these people are devious.
Hilarious.
Was developed by an African American woman, and that is just a fact. I mean, that is a fact.
So his rationale is since it was co-designed by an African American woman, that we should trust it.
It's okay for us to take this.
Insane. All right.
Dr. Fauci also says African Americans have been disproportionately affected by coronavirus. He says Black Americans make up 4 times the amount of hospitalizations and twice as many deaths.
So you say.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to stop. Wait a minute. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come back again. All right. So far, what do you think about that with Fauci and what he's saying?
Yeah, that was hilarious with Fauci.
I have no words.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the the thing with the Tuskegee experiment, and for that to be for him to try to use that as a reason, the fact that there's a Black woman. Have him try to use that as a reason for the fact that we should get it. That's insane. And when we can reflect on what happened with the Tuskegee experiment, okay?
The play on our intelligence. It's disrespectful.
Oh yeah, very disrespectful.
Grossly.
All right, but now here we go. Let's check out because I'm ready to go back into this Let me go to the desktop. Wait a minute. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I try this here now. Nope, that's not the one I want to do. All right, stop share. Oh, I keep what you coming. All right, so here we go. Let me share my screen again, and I am going to go to my full screen. All right, and here we go. All right, so now everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, so let me see. I have to go back up here to the top. All right, so now this is the woman that he's talking about. This is his Mekia Corbett. All right, so this is the woman that helped to design the vaccine. All right, but now check this out. The Tuskegee experiment. Go ahead, brother. You want to continue?
All right. At the origins of the study and throughout its entirety were countless Caucasian physicians, nurses, public health officials, scientists, etc. However, perhaps the same can be said of several Blacks in similar positions and vocations. Robert Russell Moulton, the head of the Tuskegee Institute at the time, and Dr. Eugene Dibble, an African-American doctor who was head of the John Andrew Hospital at the Tuskegee Institute, both lent their endorsement and institutional resources to the government study. Eunice Rivers, a Black nurse who trained at Tuskegee Institute, was the central figure in the experiment for most of its 40 years. Is that the woman they depicted in the movie? Miss So-and-so's Boys or something like that?
No,
that might be her, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yes.
Who said yes? Who said yes?
I did.
Who's that, Bashira?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I hadn't seen the movie. So what we want to look at is Robert Russell Moulton and Dr. Eugene Dibble and Eunice Rivers. All right. This is Robert Russell Moulton and this is Dr. Eugene Dibble. All right. So they were involved with this. All right. It says the Tuskegee syphilis. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get it now. All right, here we go. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment, one of the most infamous biomedical research studies in the U.S. history, began while Moulton headed Tuskegee Institute. A clinical study conducted between 1932 and 1972 in Macon County, Alabama, by the U.S. Department of Health Service, it became notorious. Let me see if I can move this out the way. Yeah, it became notorious for ethical issues, as it failed to tell participants their diagnosis and did not treat them, even after penicillin was proven in the 1940s to be effective against syphilis. The study followed the natural progression of untreated syphilis in poor rural Black men who thought they were receiving free health care from the U.S. government. Moulton endorsed the study and provided institutional resources, including medical personnel. The study was finally shut down in 1972 amid ethical controversy. The victims of the study included numerous men who died of syphilis, 40 wives, and this is not something I didn't even think about, 40 wives, and 19 children born with congenital syphilis.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I only remember about the men, right? But I have to give thanks to one of my co-workers, a woman by the name of Madeline. She sent me something and it made me just go ahead and look into this a little further. I hadn't really done an in-depth look at the Tuskegee experiment. Right? So here is Eunice Rivers. Okay, this is Eunice Rivers, and it says beginning in 1932, Rivers worked for the United States Public Health Service on the study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male in Macon County, Alabama. Popularly known as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. She recruited 600 American men with syphilis for the study and worked to keep them enrolled as participants in the program. In return for their participation, the study offered the participants free medical care, which Rivers provided. Rivers was the experiment's only consistent full-time staff member. Once the news of the unethical treatment of participants in the Tuskegee study was exposed in 1972, Rivers retreated into silence. Some see her primarily as a dedicated nurse, willing to follow any order to keep treating her patients. Others see her as a race traitor who used her education and class power to keep her job and sell out the rural men she was caring for. There is evidence for both narratives.
Wow.
All right. So, very interesting. So we know that we have, people who, are, of the same group as us, do things for their own benefit. And that's why I said this thing is not a thing of color. It's about righteousness. Allah judges us on our deeds. When we leave this earth, the only thing we take with us are those deeds. We can't take any of these material things here. We just leave here with our deeds, okay, and our beliefs. So very, very important to remember that. All right, but here we go. I'm going to move on because now this is going back to where we left off last time. This is the video that I wanted to show you before we ended the last session. All right. It says the Catholic Church in opposition to the tetanus vaccine, saying it is a population control tool. This was from 2014, right? 2014.
With around now threatens to derail the government's ongoing tetanus vaccination.
Yes, the Catholic Church has kept up its opposition to the exercise, dismissing it as a population control tool.
Doctors allied to the Catholic Church in Kenya are now warning women of reproductive age against taking the vaccine, saying it could render them sterile.
Or could it? Well, KTN's Wilkeston Yabwa begins our news coverage with that story. In 3 days, public health officials will finish administering the third dose of tetanus vaccines. But the complaints that have marred the exercise are likely to echo long after they are gone. The loudest voice that of leaders from the Catholic Church who have urged followers to boycott vaccines.
In the current tetanus vaccine, the Catholic Church advises all Kenyans not to participate in the vaccination program.
The anti-tetanus drive is part of a 5-dose campaign that targets women of childbearing age. The first round of vaccinations took place in September last year and the second in March this year. The third round has aroused the suspicion of Catholic doctors who claim that the tetanus injections could cause sterility in women.
Is there a tetanus crisis in Kenya?
He said, is there a tetanus crisis in Kenya?
Why has it not been declared?
He's saying, if this is so, then why hasn't it been declared? How come they weren't, they declared it as this big problem?
Why does the campaign target women of 14 and 49 years?
Targeting women 14 to 49 years old only.
Childbearing ages.
Right, exactly.
Why has the campaign left out girls below 14 and yet girls between 13 and 9 years become pregnant if what they are worried about is neonatal tetanus? Why have they left out boys and men?
Why have they left out the boys and the men? Okay. It was only targeted towards the women. So you know exactly what they were doing. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. But the most important thing is not to be in denial that these things are happening. Any mind that does not believe in God is capable of anything. Capable of any and everything, I should say. Okay?
That's right.
They are all prone to tetanus, even more than women.
When anybody then says in a country dying of malaria, dying of HIV, dying of cancer, dying of diabetes, and you prioritize a disease that some of us have not seen.
Did you hear that? You hear what he said?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Powerful.
Catholic Doctors Association of Kenya claims to have undertaken independent tests to back the allegations.
When injected to a non-pregnant woman, combined with the tetanus toxoid, she develops antibodies against both tetanus and HCG. When she conceives, the body fails to recognize HCG as a friend and will produce anti-HCG antibodies, destroying her own natural HCG, rendering her incapable of sustaining a pregnancy.
This is not the first time the government has been accused of using vaccinations as a permanent population control tool. In some parts of the country, health workers administering repeat polio vaccines have faced opposition. The government maintains that the tetanus vaccines are geared towards reducing the chances of mothers transmitting tetanus to their newborns. The standoff is now likely to jeopardize plans to proceed with the fourth and fifth rounds of tetanus vaccinations across the country. Wilkinson Alpha, KTN.
And as I told you before, this it's a puzzle. All right. And once you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you can see the big picture. When we talked about last time, when we talked about NSSM 200, and they saw the government had saw Africa as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they talked about getting rid of population, things that they could do to get rid of population there.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Gates said, you know, we can use vaccines to lower population.
I saw him say that.
Yeah, we have to start putting this stuff together.
Oh yeah, it's plain. Yeah.
I wonder if they tied those vaccines in with aid, financial aid. You know how they give money to other countries. They say if you don't give out these vaccines, then you're not going to get any aid from
right. Well,
the U.S. or European countries.
Yeah. Well, remember, Obama was telling the African nations that if they didn't push the homosexual agenda, that they wouldn't give them aid.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't give them financial aid.
Mm-hmm. So,
you know, there's a game. And that's what I'm saying. You know, people give all of this praise to Obama, but they don't really know him.
Absolutely.
The stuff that he was doing.
That's right. Or not doing.
And see, you know, his, as a matter of fact, one of the guys that he looked up to, him and Hillary Clinton, was a guy by the name of Saul Alinsky.
Oh.
And he wrote a book that was called Rules for Radicals. And
Rules for what?
In his forward in that book, he gives praise to who he calls the first rebel, which was Satan.
Satan, that's right.
Okay?
That's right.
So, you know, people have
that's who these people worship. That's who these people worship.
Right.
That's how that you say, how can they do these things? Because in their church, they're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So you have to turn it around. They're doing the right thing in their church, in their worship.
Right.
So they can sleep at night. They think they're doing the right. Anyway.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. They have their perception, which is controlled by Shaitan or by Satan.
Right.
So here we go. Let's go to this next thing because you really have to see this. All right. Watch this one.
Well, just days ago, over 100 protesters gathered outside of the CDC right here in Atlanta, demanding transparency when it comes to vaccines.
Now, they're telling us that the CDC, we got to look at the CDC as, you know, something that we need to trust, and, you know, but as we've seen with all this other stuff, you know, how can you trust, you know, these organizations? Watch.
So are these people conspiracy theorists, or do they have a good reason to be here? I promise, this is a reality check you won't see anywhere else.
There's too much corruption, too much conflict of interest, and our children are paying the price.
Well, it is an incredibly controversial subject to say the least. But those protesters outside the CDC here in Atlanta say that the information being provided to the public about vaccines is not completely honest. And all of it hinges on one man, this guy right here, a scientist you've probably never heard of. That scientist's name is Dr. William Thompson. And it was on August 27th of 2014 that Dr. Thompson made an admission that got very little media coverage, but it was a major statement. That statement read in part, quote, "I regret that my co-authors and I omitted statistically significant information in our 2004 article published in the journal Pediatrics. The omitted data suggested that African American males who received the MMR vaccine before age 36 months were at increased risk for autism. Decisions were made regarding the findings of the report as the data was collected, and I believe that the final study protocol was not followed." So I'll tell you the significance of that statement in just a minute, but let's be clear here. Dr. Thompson did not come forward on his own. He released that statement I read to you only after he was secretly recorded by Dr. Brian Hooker. Now, once that happened, Thompson hired a whistleblower attorney, then turned over documents to Congress. Dr. Thompson still works, by the way, for the CDC, but a few weeks ago, I requested a sit-down interview with him. Dr. Thompson refused that request. Even though he wouldn't sit down with me, Thompson has claimed that he's handed over documents about this case to Congressman Bill Posey's office. Now, I spoke with the congressman's office about that, and the spokesman confirms to me that thousands of documents were handed over, but sources within that office tell me as many as 100,000 documents were actually handed over. Congressman Posey brought this information to the floor of Congress, and what he read there was nothing short of stunning. That authors of the study not only hid the actual findings, but attempted to destroy evidence. Quoting from Dr. Thompson, "The authors of the study decided not to disclose to the public that African American boys..."
Oh my God. I moved the thing. Oh, all right, here we go. I'm sorry, y'all.
"With just days ago, risk for autism." Confirms to me that thousands of documents were handed over, but sources within that office tell me as many as 100,000 documents were actually handed over. Congressman Posey brought this information to the floor of Congress, and what he read there was nothing short of stunning. That authors of the study not only hid the actual findings, but attempted to destroy evidence. Quoting from Dr. Thompson, "The authors of the study decided not to disclose to the public that African American boys under 36 months were more susceptible to developing autism or autism-like symptoms from the MMR vaccine."
The remaining 4 co-authors all met and brought a big garbage can into the meeting room and reviewed and went through all the hard copy documents that we had thought we should discard and put them in a huge garbage can. However, because I assumed it was illegal and would violate both FOIA and DOJ requests, I kept hard copies of all documents in my office, and I retained all associated computer files. I believe we intentionally withheld controversial findings from the final draft of the pediatrics paper.
So just in case you missed it there, Dr. Thompson, that statement, by the way, read into the congressional record, a CDC scientist and an author of the study in the journal Pediatrics that insisted there is no link between vaccines and autism, admits that he and other authors of that study left out information that was deemed controversial. Information that in some African American male children who are...
Look at this. I mean, it's
What year was this?
It's horrible. This is from somebody posted it on November 6th of 2015.
And they want us to trust them. They want to vaccinate us.
Exactly.
Well, I have a friend who's a physician's assistant, and her husband is a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to her a couple weeks ago because my husband actually did contract COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her about it, and I was telling her how I was on the CDC website, but I'm afraid to trust them because of all their dealings with Trump. And she told me in her 35 years of practice in medicine, she would not trust the CDC at this point. She said that they live by the guidelines of the CDC, but this last year, most medical professionals do not trust the CDC at this point.
Well, if you've seen the video of the 60 Minutes piece that they did on the swine flu vaccine of 1970. You really wouldn't trust them then. Some of the stuff that they showed there, where they were caught in lies, the fact that they had a vaccine that one was tested and one wasn't tested, and they gave the people the one that wasn't tested, and people were getting Guillain-Barré syndrome. Okay, so it's a lot of stuff going on, y'all. We just have to start paying attention. But a lot of us are not paying attention.
We're getting what?
Say again?
You said people were contracting what or getting what?
Guillain-Barré syndrome.
I don't know what that is.
It's a paralysis. It's a paralysis in the leg.
Is it like Bell's palsy? Is it related to that?
Bell's palsy focuses on the face.
That's just on the face, right?
Right. But this lady, after she took the vaccine, they had to put bars on her legs so that she could walk, and she had to walk with crutches. Okay, and she was like had to be put in a wheelchair and stuff to move around.
Was it permanent or temporary?
I think it was permanent for her. And her husband felt so bad because he didn't get the shot, but she had gotten the shot.
Yeah.
And that had happened to her. It's a very, very interesting. I think I put it on a couple of the presentations that I did previously, but it's something that you really need to check out, because they show you how they were lying and saying certain celebrities were getting that vaccine.
That's right.
Like they said, Mary Tyler Moore got it, and she never got it. They were saying that Muhammad Ali got it. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting. All right.
The doctor in this piece, are we able to look him up, or is he completely gone now?
I think you can still look him up. You can still look him up. He started getting kind of quiet. He wouldn't give that guy an interview after he exposed what was going on. But like I said, like he said in the piece, he said that the guy didn't just come outright and say it. It was some way made that he had to come out and tell what was going on. But these people, they hit 100,000 documents. 100,000 documents talking about the evidence, talking about how the vaccines were causing autism in Black children. Okay, so it's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let me see if I can, because I did the thing again. This mouse is so sensitive. All right, so I think this is where we left off right here.
Measles vaccine before 36 months did have an increased risk of autism and signs of autism. And that not only did the CDC get that information, but that the authors of the study threw that evidence into a trash can and destroyed it. So what you need to know here is that there is so much hysteria over this subject. Why is it that you have to be all for vaccines given in all quantities at all times to all people, or you're anti-vaccination? Vaccines probably have saved more lives on this planet than any other single medical advancement. You might know that. But what you might not know is that all vaccines in all quantities for all people are not safe. Every year, hundreds of children are injured by vaccines here in the United States. Since 1986, the United States government, they have paid out $3 billion to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. But raise even one question, just one, about why that is, and you get shouted down. That's Reality Check. Let's talk about that tonight on Twitter.
So very interesting. But let's move on. All right. Unless somebody has a comment about what was being said. Any comments? All right. So if nobody has any. Oh, is somebody saying something? All right. So with that, then I'm going to move to this next piece. All right. Because this goes to another point that we were talking about before we headed out last time. All right. Because we were talking about bioweapons. Okay. But I just want you to listen to a little bit here of this interview with Vladimir Putin. All right. Check this out.
В СМИ начала циркулировать информация о разработке рядом стран элементов биологического оружия. И у экспертов давно уже вызывает вопросы вынесения на территорию других государств биологических лабораторий Соединенных Штатов. Вот недавно на этот счет в СМИ были представлены документы бывшим грузинским министром госбезопасности.
Now remember last time they talked about ethnic weapons that were specifically designed to kill African American people. Okay?
Конвенция запрещает разработку биологического оружия. Какие меры в связи с этим можно принять и насколько достоверны эти данные?
Now he's questioning the accuracy of the rumor about bioweapons or ethnic weapons.
Не берусь судить, насколько это достоверно. Я видел это заявление бывшего министра госбезопасности Грузии. Безусловно, это вызывает тревогу. Эти разработки, если они действительно проводятся, они очень опасны и связаны с последними достижениями в области генетики.
So he's saying, from the documents that I've seen, I can only repeat that tools are developed that only affect people selectively, based on the ethnic group they belong to.
Значит, что из того, что вот я видел, могу только это повторить. О чем там идет речь? О том, что выявляются какие-то препараты, которые могут влиять избирательно на человека в соответствии с его принадлежностью к определенной этнической группе. И через 2-3 поколения, а якобы проводятся такие опыты уже на животных, там у собак, у крыс у них цикл достаточно быстрый. Во 2-3 поколении уже наступают такие изменения, которые просто кардинальным образом меняют первоначальный облик. Вот это, конечно, если это так, то это представляет большую угрозу. Как бороться? Нужно понимать, все должны понимать, значит, ничто ниоткуда не берется, никуда не исчезает. Действие равно противодействию, или точнее наоборот. Поэтому, если кто-то будет разрабатывать такие вещи, то он должен понимать, что и другие будут этим заниматься. Лучше заранее сесть и вырабатывать единые правила поведения в этой чрезвычайно чувствительной сфере. Образы наших граждан, избирателей собираются.
He said the fact that images of our voting countrymen are being collected by someone, that's nothing. Are you aware that biological material is being collected across the whole country?
Как-то используется. Но образ-то ладно. Вы знаете, что биологический материал собирается по всей стране. Причем по разным этносам.
At that, from various ethnic subgroups, various groups of people who live in different areas of the Russian Federation.
И людям, проживающим в разных географических точках Российской Федерации. Вот вопрос, вот это для себя зачем делают? Делают целенаправленно и профессионально.
And this was them seeking out. They had somewhere they were seeking out. This is a U.S. Air Force document, but they were seeking out samples of Russia. They were saying Russian. It must be Caucasian. The government will not consider tissue samples from Ukraine. So all of that stuff that was going on with the, DNA, you're trying to find your roots and your ancestors and all that kind of stuff. What do they do with that information after they finish sending it to you?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. And they are storing stuff dealing with your DNA.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Go ahead, say again.
They're storing everything. Everything is being gathered.
Right.
Yeah.
But they also, there's also a video showing of how they were storing, taking stuff from the baby. When the baby is born, they would gather stuff from a baby dealing with its DNA and stuff. So it's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But like I said, we are too entertained. Allah tells us in the Quran that the life of this world is nothing but amusement and play.
Yep.
And that translates to the word entertainment. Think about all of the channels that we have. Think about all of the different sports and all of these things. Your mind preoccupied so that you will not really be looking. You will be wasting your time not looking into things.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Right. We all are.
When we were kids, you had ABC, NBC, CBS.
Right.
We had a bootleg channel in DC, and then we got 3 from Baltimore. So we were more fortunate than a lot of people. That was what, eight stations? How many do you have now?
Hundreds or thousands.
Right. Do you really need all of that?
It's all by design.
It's the diversion.
Right. Yeah. It's diversion. That's the definition of the word entertainment. It means to distract.
Programming.
Yeah. It means to distract. The word entertainment means to distract.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that think about it. When we're all caught up in this entertainment and stuff, how much could we be reading Quran? How much could we be practicing our surahs and all of this, these positive things, or spending time with our children and teaching our children? All right. So it's very important that, we start really looking at this whole picture. We're not on this earth for that long, So it's very important that we kind of start to, rethink things and start, trying to change some of our habits. And it's very hard because we have those things like digital heroin. They're talking about all of this digital stuff and they're calling it digital heroin. People
I asked my students what they did over the break. Mm-hmm. And some of them said they played video games all day, every day.
Right.
To 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Well, I told you about the people. It was either in Korea or China. I think it was Korea, where they had these gaming cafes, and it's a place where you can go and
all night.
All night.
Oh, wow.
And some of the people that were going in there were putting on Pampers, so they wouldn't have to get up.
Have to go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom. They would sit there and go to the bathroom on themselves.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And
that's crazy.
This one guy they caught, he was he had a 4-year-old son, and he would just leave his son in the house, and go to these gaming cafes. And he was, just ignoring the child, ignoring the child's needs. The child wound up dying of malnutrition.
Oh, no.
And he put the child's body in a duffel bag, and they caught him. That's how they caught him taking the body out to the trash on camera. So, we're dealing with a lot of things. This is a very wicked time that we live in. But it was told that we be living in some wicked times. So the thing that defends us against it is by getting into those scriptures, getting into that Quran. If you're a Christian, getting into that Bible, and just reinforcing your righteousness, because this enemy is on us, and it's on us heavy. All right. So let me, because I don't want to, take too much time, but I want to go to this next, because these are all important things that I think you really need to see, dealing with the bioweapons. All right. But here we go. Check this. I'm only going to show you a little bit of this next one, but it's very interesting. All right. This lady, they put together some good information. Watch this. It says, wait a minute. It says Iranian, Russian, and Chinese officials claim COVID-19 is a biological weapon. All right, check this out.
Is the novel coronavirus a biological weapon?
I don't mean to peddle any conspiracy theories here, but I do think we need to take a look at what everybody is saying. And there are some Iranian officials claiming that it is a biological weapon. We've got some Russian officials claiming that it is as well, and they're pointing the finger at the United States. Israel, some Israeli officials are also saying, yeah, it might be a biological weapon. They're claiming it was China that unleashed it. China hasn't really said anything, and the United States is saying, no, that is a hoax. So let's go ahead and break this down a bit. The former Iranian president came out claiming that the novel coronavirus was a biological weapon man-made in a lab. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, sorry about that, this is his tweet. He says, it is clear to the world that the mutated coronavirus was produced in lab, manufactured by the warfare stockhouses of biological war belonging to world powers, and that it constitutes a threat on humanity more destructive than the other weapons that target humanity. So he also tweeted out a letter that he had sent to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and in it talks about how they believe that this was a biological man-made weapon that was unleashed in a lab, but he doesn't give any evidence of this. But we will see where there might be a little bit of, reason to be suspicious. Also, Javad Zarif, Iran's foreign minister, called the sanctions on Iran an act of medical terrorism. So he also at first made some, he insinuated that this could have been a biological weapon made in a lab, unleashed on the Iranian people. And then he's also come out saying that the sanctions on Iran that the United States has are an act of medical terrorism. Iran is not able to get all the supplies that they need, and they're very much suffering because of the sanctions, and that is causing a lot of panic and a lot of death, and the virus is very strong in Iran. So this is what Javid Zarif says in his tweet. He says, real Donald Trump is maliciously tightening U.S. illegal sanctions with aim of draining Iran's resources needed in the fight against COVID-19 while our citizens are dying from it. The world can no longer be silent as U.S. economic terrorism is supplanted by its medical terrorism. So Iran has, the last count that I saw, which was I think yesterday, they've had about 429 deaths and over 10,000 people infected. And they've now asked the International Monetary Fund for $5 billion in emergency funding. And they're saying that the they haven't really placed blame on exactly who they think unleashed this virus on them, but they do feel like they had this unleashed on them, that this is not something that naturally would have occurred in Iran. And let's go ahead and take a look at a map to see what they're talking about, because it does look a little bit suspicious. When you look at the map, look at Iran here with 10,075 cases.
This is Iran right here. They had 10,075 cases. And look at all the surrounding places. Okay. So the Iranian leader was like, look, I think we're being targeted,
Cases. Now, this was from yesterday, but look at the surrounding areas. Look at Afghanistan, 7 cases in Afghanistan. Look at over here in Iraq, 71 cases in Iraq. Look at the Arabian Peninsula. I mean, you've got 80, 74, 18, 45 in Saudi Arabia. You've got all of these small numbers surrounding Iran, but you've got 10,075 cases in Iran. And if you look at the countries in between Iran and China, look at here again. If you look at the map, you've got India with only 73. I mean, India is a densely populated country, and they only have 73, yet Iran has 10,075. Now, some people say, well, the reason why Iran got it was because China and Iran have a strong trade partnership. Well, China has a strong trade partnership with many countries around the world, and yet those countries are not seeing thousands and thousands of coronavirus cases, not like Iran. And Iran is having a really difficult time managing the virus. They've got a high death rate going on in Iran. So people are kind of raising an eyebrow and saying this is suspicious. That, look at over here when you take a look at all of the areas surrounding China. China, of course, had over 80,000 cases. And you've got, look at these numbers, 49, 10, 39, 73, 1, 1. Hardly any cases.
Do you see this? These are, they've been willing to start war with Iran.
Yes.
China is a threat.
Yes.
But look at the number of cases in those places And look at all the surrounding places to those countries. Insane.
And somehow the virus was able to jump from China all the way to Iran with 10,000 cases in Iran. And yet all the surrounding nations don't have nearly as many, including nations that have very strong trade agreements with China. The United States imports more from China than I think any other country, and yet we're not seeing 10,000 cases. I mean, not yet. We definitely could because the virus spreads, but for Iran to get it so quickly.
All right. So remember, that was from what was the date? May 4th, 2020. All right, May 4th.
So just so you're aware, currently India has 10,432,526 cases.
Well, it's very interesting too. Is there's brown.
Iran has 1,274,514 cases.
Wow.
So
biological warfare, anyone?
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. And the thing is that you have to think about here, when it first started, it wasn't like black people were really catching it.
No.
Right? But now all of a sudden, we saw the video last time where they talk about, we had the greatest numbers like in the country. We're the ones most susceptible to it. So it's very interesting. All right. But now
that's so they can lock us up, right?
yeah, either that or get rid of us, one or the other. Or to have us run out and get the vaccine.
Right.
Remember,
that ain't happening.
They were actually doing advertisements looking for black people to take the vaccine so you could be like one of their little crash dummies.
Yeah.
They have a group of African American people dancing in front of the hospital doing line dancing to get you to come in and dance and have the vaccine with them.
I'm sorry, they were outside doing line dances waiting for the vaccine
in front of the hospital. No, they had a group. There's a video. I thought I sent it to you, Brother Rashid, with a group of African American doctors and nurses dancing. You know how they get us to dance? They put on music to tell us to dance. Dance, boy, dance. But anyway, they're out there in a group dancing, and they're like, "Come get your vaccine because we got ours."
Well, they always stereotype us and say we love chicken dancing in water.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's a whole hot mess. Just dancing, we gonna
get a hot mess. The hot mess.
So
you guys are laughing. I saw my poor cousin on Facebook. She was taking the shot.
Oh wow.
And look, I just talked to her last week. I told her you need to question this. I'm not telling you what to do, but you need to look into it. But she was right there.
Right. My heart broke when I saw that 17-year-old African American girl getting that shot in her arm, and she on the camera talking about, so I'm getting it. And I'm hoping that I encourage more people in my age group.
They use us. Yeah,
they do.
All I kept thinking is, where the heck are her parents and why are they
exactly on camera?
But see, what they want to do is they want to eliminate any chance of us hearing some information and saying, "Oh no, we're not taking that." Remember, I had the video with the guy. It was like a joke. It was like a meme, but it was talking about not taking the vaccine. All right. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they took the video off of YouTube.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
Took it off because they don't want anything to interrupt their narrative.
Exactly.
Was it one of you guys that sent the text? I read something where they said they're looking to make it legal for kids 11 years old and older to start getting the vaccination without parental consent.
Oh gosh!
Without the parents' consent. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and the doctor doesn't even have to tell the parents. And I
MJ.
A 14-year-old girl can get an abortion and it's just her business.
Right, that's right.
She gotta go home and get fed by her parents and lay up under her parents' roof. And it's a secret. I believe it.
Oh yeah.
I believe anything.
Most definitely. Definitely. I mean, how can you? I don't know these. How can you tell me I have to leave the room while you talk to my child.
And if you refuse, you know they will put in the report that you're abusive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And they might even be able to have you investigated by Child Welfare Services because you refuse to leave the room. So
Police state. Police
you
state.
can see what the heck is going on with your child's health.
Well, look, y'all, it's here, but it's coming. It's coming full force.
I want to know how to fight this. That's what I want to know because I have two young kids, and this gonna be here before we blink. So I just want to know what can I do.
Well, one of the things is that you have to. A lot of people have to stop. They're dealing with denial. You know, it's like they don't think this stuff can happen. And I'm like, wait a minute, y'all. You got to look at the things that's going on. You know, it's too much. There's too much going on. Too many freedoms are being taken away.
Yeah.
And it's like, like Sister Saida said, yes, becoming a police state. You know. But now watch. I want to show you. Let me see, because we're getting. I think we got like 14 minutes left because we got a little late start. So we have about 14 minutes left. But I want to. All right, I might as well. I'll do this now. All right, because we're talking about the immunity passports. All right, but I want you to listen to this take on it. All right, listen to this take on it.
A passport is a pretty straightforward document, and depending on what information pops up on screen when it's scanned, it allows you to travel in and out of various countries. But as the coronavirus pandemic continues, there's discussion surrounding a different kind of document. It's being coined an immunity passport. In parts of Europe, immunity passports are being considered for people who are believed to be immune to the coronavirus. While in China, some cities have already implemented QR codes that generate a color in order for officials to enable how freely an individual may move around outdoors. In Canada, some government officials are considering a...
So when we talked about that video and it was like, papers, please. This is it digitally.
Crazy.
Okay? This is it digitally. So how can you sit there and say, no, that's not what's happening? Okay? It's right in your face.
However, the World Health Organization wrote there's not enough evidence to prove someone who has recovered from COVID-19 is protected from a second infection. In fact, the WHO says immunity passports or risk-free certificates could actually lead to a continued transmission of the coronavirus. But that's not the only concern.
What you have here ultimately is a proposal to use technology to divide society between the haves and the have-nots. But what's happening is it's actually going to layer on top of economics, because if it's your pass to get back out into the world to be able to work, you're again going to be relying on, privileging people of a certain socioeconomic status against others who will be disadvantaged if they can't get back out into the workplace.
Bayless says racialized communities are just one of the vulnerable populations which would be hit hard by these passports.
You're going to have to police it, right? You're going to have to go around and have somebody ask, do you have this, immunity card? Are you allowed to be in these places, etc.? And I genuinely worry about how that can play out in a context where we already have, evidence of discrimination. How is this not going to just add to that problem? It's one more reason to stop and frisk somebody.
Another worry of Bayless includes the long-term effects this could have on individuals who want to apply for things like health or life insurance policies.
Will this be now important in terms of when I ask for a life insurance policy, a health insurance policy, a particular kind of job where they decide that this is now going to be your ticket to being even eligible to be possibly employed in a particular area? So I think one of the things that happens is once you start codifying information about people, you need to think about who might be asking for this and why might they be asking for this and how might they be using this.
Immunity passports really put the focus on the individual, right?
It's like, okay, this one person is safe to go out. They can go out, and that will help, that will help kind of keep the economy going. And what that can distract from is really the collective measures that we need to be taking as a society to protect everyone.
And not only do passports focus on the individual, there's also privacy concerns.
I see sort of two levels of security issue. One is this idea of sort of either borrowing or stealing other people's certification, either by it being willfully given by, say, a family member or through some sort of emergence of an illegal market for forged certification. Second sort of level of concern around security and privacy is that whenever we have an issue where people are either carrying some sort of validation on an app on their phone or electronic health records on their phone, this often creates vulnerability, security breaches, and breaches of privacy for individuals.
However, there are some experts who think a digital immunity passport may be beneficial.
We've created a pan-Canadian app called Can Immunize, which is a digital immunization application. And we've been working with Canada Health Infoway on thinking through this, recognizing there are important ethical, legal, and scientific considerations.
Dr. Wilson agrees there's still a lot of unknowns about the coronavirus, including the level of immunity someone may have after getting COVID-19, or even how long that immunity may last. But he believes that shouldn't stop people from finding a partial solution to our current situation.
The solution I'm advocating would not be limited to a specific application. I would argue that we need a pan-Canadian approach to issuing proof of immunity, both for immunization and for national immunity, where there is a national standard and that it's not exclusive to any particular solution. It's provided by governments and can be easily used by citizens. They can be granted access to places which are gated based on proof of immunity.
So then, how would a digital immunity passport in Canada work?
So there are, real ethical considerations, but a narrow application for settings like frontline workers or early return to work scenarios could be really valuable in controlling the outbreaks or preventing outbreaks, as well as ensuring the economy functions.
As of now, the World Health Organization says that any vaccines are still under development. Thanks for watching.
All right, and this video was from May 4th, 2000. All right. But the thing is that well, let me see if I can get through a couple more of these real quick. All right, so this next one is Bill Gates. All right, so I'm gonna try to go back to looking at the trail, all right, leading up to what we're experiencing now, all right? But now check this out, all right? It says Bill Gates warned us about pandemics multiple times in 2015, 2017, all right? Let me play this for you real quick. Let me see.
The impact of a huge
141. Oh no.
The impact of a huge epidemic, like a flu epidemic, would be phenomenal because all the supply chains would break down. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. We're not ready for the next epidemic. The impact of a huge epidemic, like a flu epidemic, would be phenomenal because all the supply chains would break down, there'd be a lot of panic, many of our systems would be overloaded, and so we all hope that doesn't come along. But being ready for epidemics of different sizes, there's a lot more we should do with the resources to go engage in the affected countries, the allocation decisions. As we've seen various flu scares come along, we haven't had a super good response. Using the flu vaccine doesn't really work that well in the equatorial regions because you don't get this lead time like we do in the northern hemisphere. But a universal flu vaccine, I think, would be brilliant
because it would.
A universal flu vaccine would be perfect to reduce pandemic risk, and I also think the human health benefit.
Reduce pandemic risk. I also think the human health benefit would be larger, particularly in developing countries than we'd expect.
Particularly in developing countries. So he's talking about Africa, India. This guy.
And they use those code words, developing, third world.
Exactly.
Code words.
Like when they say urban for black.
But see, the thing is too, also you got to remember, now this was 2015, and he's from 2017, where he was warning about these pandemics. And you have to remember his history. His father was a eugenicist, and
right,
following in his father's footsteps. Okay, so this man, you know, he's not even a medical doctor. So how is he an expert on these pandemics and stuff?
Okay. Yeah, I've seen people say that. They say, wasn't he a computer guy?
Yeah.
Now he's a brilliant scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking.
Right. But now check this out. Let me see. I'm gonna get this in 10 seconds more on this. All right. So that was him supposedly warning us 2015 and 2017. But now I want to take a look back at the trail that we were going on. All right, so it's 9:17. All right, but I want to try to get in these last two pieces, and then I'm not going to add anything else to these presentations so that I can get to the end of this this topic. But I want you to see this. This is interesting. All right, so let's go to this. All right, dystopia. All right, so when they talk about a dystopian society, all right, and they push that now in a lot of the movies, a society characterized by human misery, as squalor or oppression, disease, and overcrowding. In the British dictionary, it's an imaginary place where everything is as bad as it can be. All right. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of the television shows, a lot of the movies, that these are things that they're dealing with. All right. So it's really getting into the programming and the predictive programming. All right. But here we go. This is from the Avengers. All right. And I said that the Avengers was the Soylent Green of our time. All right, Soylent Green was a movie. I don't know if many of you saw that. It's an old movie with Charlton Heston, and it dealt with overpopulation, and that they were actually using humans as food. Okay, but this is the equivalent. All right, because it was trying to push the idea of how bad overpopulation was, and how, I mean, Soylent Green was talking about how bad, you know, the overpopulation situation was becoming, and, you know, the things that needed to be done or whatever. Okay, but now here we are. This is with the Avengers. Very popular movie. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go to the 22-second mark. Let me see. Here. All right, so let's listen to Thanos.
Oh, yeah. You're much more of a Thanos.
They take it to Mars, Dad. It extracts a heavy toll. Well, accomplished his mission.
You may regret that. Brought you face to face with the master of the mystic arts.
Where do you think he brought you?
Let me guess. Your home?
It was. It was beautiful. Titan was like most planets. many mouths, not enough to go around. When we
Too many miles, not enough to go around. All right. This is the theme that they've been pushing. Oh my God, for so long. All right.
faced extinction, I offered a solution.
Genocide.
At random, dispassionate,
So the solution was genocide.
Genocide. Yep.
rich and poor alike. They called me a madman. What I predicted came to pass.
Congratulations, you're a prophet.
I'm a survivor.
Who wants to trillions.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
And a lot of people get so caught up in the action and fight that they're listening to these conversations.
You don't hear it. Yeah.
But they're hearing it subliminally, you know.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Right.
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe. The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
The hardest of choices requires the strongest of wills. So this is some deep stuff that's being said in these science fiction action movies, okay? These superhero movies.
I think you'll find our will equal to yours.
All right. So now one more, and then we can wrap it up. All right. Now this comes out where it says, was Thanos right? Okay, Thanos right. Now they have something that's called the Hegelian dialectic, and the Hegelian dialectic is a way of bringing two opposing views to a middle ground. Where if you are, far away from that position, it could bring you closer to being able to accept that position. Okay. And that's what they do a lot of times on the news and some of the other programming that they use. But check it out. Listen to this. So this is the question: was Thanos right?
In Marvel's Infinity War, Thanos seeks to destroy.
Oh God! As soon as I move this thing, Oh no! Wait, I clicked on the wrong one. Ooh, get me a 30.
In Marvel's Infinity War, Thanos seeks to destroy half of all life to stop overpopulation. But is overpopulation the universe-ending problem he thinks it is? Is Thanos right? Thanos' belief that overpopulation will lead to destruction is actually an old idea. In 1798, the English cleric Thomas Malthus created a panic with his essay on population, warning of famine, war, and poverty as populations doubled every generation. His influential theories inspired dark population control tactics throughout history and left a mark on pop culture as well, even with Ebenezer Scrooge.
If they would rather die, they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
But it turns out the projected calamity has not occurred. Thanks to innovations like the Green Revolution, global poverty has actually dropped. Birth rates are also declining due to better education of women and contraception, and because increasing lifespans allow couples to start having children later in life. Proper resource allocation is still an issue, but one of policy, not population. On this, Thanos was wrong. Even if he was right, couldn't he have just used the Infinity Gauntlet to make food? Or snap to sterilize half the population instead of killing them? Or create energy-harvesting Dyson spheres like the forge at Nidavellir? Perhaps if Thanos were engaged on this directly, the Mad Titan could change his mind. The Avengers have tried everything they can to stop him, but maybe all it takes is a few grafts. Please like and share, and if you want to fight Thanos directly by supporting research to extend healthy human lifespan, check out our work at lifespan.io.
Interesting things in that video that were being said also. But it's 9:25. Let me stop sharing. So it's 9:25. and I think we covered a lot of things. I got still have a ton of important things to show you. Also, it's interesting. So we have to kind of think about our next date and when we want to come together and we can go through a little bit more of this stuff.
Guys, what do you want to do?
Well, I like these Friday evenings.
Okay.
Okay.
What are y'all thinking about in terms of doing the next one though? Because I have some very important things to show y'all.
You do? So a week? Should we not wait 2 weeks and next week? I don't know. Let's take a vote.
Maybe Friday. Yeah.
It's up to you all.
Friday.
So we want to do next Friday?
Yes, 2 for Friday.
All right. So let me see.
Friday.
Let me see.
Okay.
All right. So next Friday would be the 15th. So if everybody's good with the 15th, or do y'all want to do the 22nd?
You have the holiday next weekend, right?
We have the holiday. Next
that
week.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think second work best for me, but if it depends on what the majority is, I'll just get on late like I did tonight.
All right. Well,
the 15th we have a Susu meeting.
We have on the 22nd. That's right. We got that.
No, on the
15th.
Oh, on the 15th.
On the 15th.
So do y'all want to do the 22nd?
Unless we do ours an hour before that at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just because I don't want to interfere with that meeting for you all. So let's.
Ikea, what do you guys say, Frida?
I'm fine. Whatever you decide.
All right.
Ikea, what do you guys want to do? If they want to go with the 15th, if not, whatever everyone else thinks.
We can do.
I think we need to keep our meeting for the 15th because it's too many people to try to like reschedule like that.
I'm good with the 20. Would you say the 20th, 21st?
22nd.
22nd. Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
The 22nd sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, I could do that.
What about you, Brother Nassim?
Yeah, the 22nd is okay.
Okay. All right. So we're really going to step into this, y'all. So.
It's still at 7 o'clock.
I'm excited. I'm ready.
Always 7.
We're gonna put up.
Linda, you sleep. Talking about you excited.
I was laying down, but I could still hear. No, I could still hear.
All right. So, do we have anything that we want to reflect on?
Can I share one thing?
Yeah.
I meant to share this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about before we got into the COVID vaccination. We were talking about immunizations, and there's a scientist, and you probably gonna have a hard time finding them now. You might be able to find something small, but if you go to Democracy Now! Website, look in their archives, you might be able to find his interview. His name is Leroy Haynes. You know him, Leroy Haynes. Haynes, I'm sorry, Haynes. He used to work for the government, and he worked for Monsanto. And
I know exactly.
So he was doing an experiment on pesticides with
food.
frogs.
Oh yeah.
Frogs. Most frogs are male, but then they develop into female.
The feminizing of the male. Yeah,
when they was treating them, what happened was instead of the male frogs becoming female, it was keeping them male, and then the male frogs were trying to mate with each other, and they found that.
Stuff for life.
Yeah. And they found that when given to humans, it creates like all that sexual confusion because of the mutation of the genes that it causes that mutation of the genes. And so, and I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything. And I know some people naturally feel a certain way or whatever that is, but I also know that some of it is not natural. It's not the natural feeling for everybody. but they have scientific evidence.
Yes, they do.
It causes same-sex interest.
Yeah,
Well,
they were
had-
putting something in the drinking water.
Well, remember,
yeah,
back in the day, they had the drug ecstasy that would make people highly sexualized, and the kids were taking them at parties.
Yeah.
And they had they had an underground camera. They went into a party and they showed all this stuff. And I had students that were bragging about ecstasy. So I showed the video one time. I said, "Oh, this is what you guys do." They were like, "No, that's not what it was, Mr. Keaton." I said, "I'm just looking at the film, man. What are you saying?"
Well,
yeah, but this is different.
Well, I actually did a presentation at Masjid Allah called "The Systematic Destruction of the Family." All right, and on that presentation, I have the clips of what you're talking about with that scientist, but I also have a clip on there about when the government was developing a gay bomb.
What?
That would make people the enemy combatants turn homosexual. And they were designing this. It was called the gay bomb. They did a story on it. As a matter of fact, just go to my if you go to my site, my YouTube page, just look at the systematic destruction of the family, and there's a lot of powerful pieces in there talking about feminization of
the male. Yeah.
Okay. They even had lingerie for men. Okay. All kinds of stuff. But you have to remember, the reason why they're pushing that agenda is because it's a form of genocide.
Right.
Because if I turn you against your mate, you won't reproduce.
Procreate.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's the game that they're playing with. They don't care anything about these people's feelings and stuff. No, they're their own agenda. Okay.
Did anyone see the presentation that Bill Gates did with the CIA when they had come up with some type of immunization and they wanted to give it to the Afghanistani soldiers? And it said it would make them less hostile. It would make them friendlier. Some of the
Well, not only that, and I don't think it was Bill Gates. I think it was somebody else.
this is Bill Gates.
Yeah.
This is Bill Gates. I'll go back and find it.
Yeah, it's a video. There was a real like the copy wasn't that clear. And then I think they clarified it and was saying that it wasn't Bill Gates. They came out with a clearer copy. But not only that, what you're saying, but they were also talking about it stopping people from believing in God.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Wow.
So
I remember that.
it's there's a lot of things going on, y'all. It's a lot of things going on. But the one thing that you always have to remember is, as bleak as this situation looks, as long as you believe in Allah, as you believe in God, work deeds of righteousness, you have nothing to fear.
Yeah.
The thing is that I have come to accept my mortality. I know I'm even here.
Yes.
So, as long as I know that I try to live righteously and believe in Allah or believe in God, there's nothing to worry about. It's really nothing to worry about, But because we're all going to leave here in some way, shape, or form. Even a righteous person could have a violent death.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is that we will leave here some way, shape, or form. But you want to leave here in a state of Islam or a state of peace. And as long as you do that, it's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. But the thing is to be able to try to teach others, because that's what Allah, puts on us to try to teach others and try to, spread righteousness, through our conduct, and through our teachings. So
it's our responsibility. That's right.
Yeah. So remember, this life is about service. It's about service. About service to Allah, and as long as you live righteously, like I said, you have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Yep, Alfreda. that's my girl, Sister Alfreda. All right.
Yeah, and we okay.
But
yeah, I'm plaiting my hair. I can't let y'all see me.
That's how those Zoom meetings go. You can look good on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, I tell you.
Not to worry about it. You got mismatched socks and everything on.
Let your hair down.
Do it every day.
Yeah.
I got it down to a science.
Yeah. So. Yep. But I mean, I think I'll be able to, inshallah, I'll be able to post this maybe by tomorrow. It should be posted. But I'm trying to give people a chance to kind of digest all the stuff that we.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put a little gap in between how I release these. So, but I thank you all for coming. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you know, I gotta find somebody to share this information with. Like I'm getting to explode.
I know that's right.
But we're gonna get into some deep stuff, y'all. I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna get into some deep stuff.
Oh, it's gonna get deeper. Ooh.
Yeah, on the 26th, we're going in. So get ready for it.
What's so amazing though, Brother Rashid, is all this stuff has been going on for many, many years. And you know something, a lot of us, especially African Americans, it has been going right over our heads.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the Caucasians know about a lot of this
That's
stuff.
right. That's right.
What's been on? Because have you ever, like I say to people sometimes, you ever watch a news program or some other program and all the Caucasians will say something, they'll say something and everybody erupts into laughter and you're sitting there thinking, what's funny? That's not funny because they're talking to one another. They
That's
know
right.
it's going over our head because we wasn't at the golf club or the country club. We don't know the backdrop of that story.
Right.
They're talking to their people and that's how they get information out.
But
And it's
funny you said that.
Yes.
Go ahead, sister.
It's funny you were saying that about white people and them knowing things that maybe we don't know, or you know, having their own language. Because after I said, like, you know, what can we do, I was sitting here thinking, like, I guess we should just wait and see what the right wing and Trumper population going to do when it comes to the vaccine, because they don't want to get it either.
Well,
they don't.
Well, let me say this.
They handle it first, since they able to storm the Capitol building. I'm gonna see how they handle it first.
But let me say this. That's an interesting point. But as I'm seeing, see, you got to remember, white people or Caucasian people are what's the word I'm looking for? Are being oppressed also.
Yeah.
But they're being oppressed mentally and spiritually. Okay? Mentally and spiritually. I notice when I share some of these presentations and information with Caucasians or white people, some of them, they don't know anything about some of this stuff. And they are shocked. And then they start looking into things. So the thing is that we have to start sharing and educating. Because when they start to see things, you know, I have a guy that I work with, and he's like a brother to me, you know, and it's because I started sharing that information with him, and he became very interested, and he started doing his own research, and he started sending me things. So, you know, we have to always look at that thing of individuals.
It's funny that you mentioned that. My father was really politically aware, and he said this country would never change until poor white people wake up.
Yep.
And so they realize that this game is against them too. It's not just against black people. It's against anybody that's not in the 1%.
It's against anybody who is trying to be righteous.
Righteous.
We are attacking the righteous. We are under attack. Whether you be yellow, brown, red, whatever little colorisms they want to say about us. But it's about righteousness. Remember, Allah tells us He created us in many hues. But
so that we can learn from each other.
Right. And the thing is that, it's all about righteousness. Because that's all you take from this earth with you are your deeds. Allah's not sitting there saying, oh yeah, well, he's white or he's black. No, that's no concern to Allah. Allah is telling us, the righteous. Your brothers and sisters in this world are the righteous.
Yeah, it's just African American people have had an experience.
We definitely have. But the thing is that all it is the story of Moses over again. Okay? When you think about the African American here in this country, all it is the story of Moses. Think about it.
Yeah.
We were taken
away from our land.
Right. And we were just like in Egypt, where the Israelites were taken in and they were put under Pharaoh. We're under Pharaoh now. This is like Pharaoh on steroids, though.
Exactly.
But there is something that is going to come from our people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that they're expecting to come from our people.
I believe that.
They want to destroy. Think about it. When Pharaoh got wind that a savior was coming, what did he start to do?
Killed all the male child, male children, right?
Right. Yeah. Because he was trying to destroy that savior from coming, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what did Allah do? He put the savior right in Pharaoh's house.
Yes.
Yeah.
We as African Americans know this system better than anybody else.
That's right.
Okay. Right. So that's all it is. What's going on now is very similar to the story of Moses or Musa.
Instead of 40 years, it's 400 years for us.
Just add a zero.
Yeah.
But we, like I said, we have nothing to fear. We have nothing to worry about. As long as we stay on that righteous path. And teach our children. The most important thing is teaching our children. Because the next generation. And those seeds that you plant, you don't know what's going to come to fruition.
That's right.
It might not even come to fruition in your lifetime. But you planted those seeds and Allah will bless you for the endeavors that you do.
Right. Be an example for our children.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Teach them and be an example.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, it's hard in the school system now because the stuff that they teach them, they come home and want to challenge everything. Because you say one thing, I say something and then I hear, oh, you're judgmental or you're being homophobic. When the truth is, I'm neither of those things.
Right.
But
that's what they're getting.
But you can't say anything. I said to one of my friends, I said, I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and I forget the gold medalist ice skater's name, but he was on there, and his partner was a woman, and they had to do, I can't remember what dance, I want to say the tango, but it was one of the dances that the whole energy around the dance is one masculine energy, what we consider masculine, what we consider feminine, and one is the stronger partner, one is like the take charge partner, and one is like the one being like dominated. And so all I said was, this is going to be interesting to see what spin they put on this artistically, because you have this man who makes a living by using his femininity to win medals, and he's really good at it. So what artistic spin are they going to put on this where they have two very strong feminine energies to make the judges go wow, right? And I lost a friend over because her daughter came out to her. She said what I said was ignorant and it was homophobic.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm confused. So it's like the way that everybody is being conditioned now, you can't say nothing about somebody who living I don't even know what to call it because there's so many letters that stand for so many things. Like honestly, I hesitate to call it one thing. Me personally, I feel like, and it has a lot to do with my religion, you know, but I feel like if your interest is not just in the opposite gender, then you're gay, no matter what other spin you put on it. That's homosexual. I don't call it bisexual, I don't call it any of that, because religiously you're supposed to mate with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the same sex, then that's homosexuality.
Yeah.
Any other spin you want to put on it is your personal preference, but really all we talking about is homosexuality. And like I couldn't say that to somebody who's educated the way that like my friend is and the kids are and that kind of thing, because they look at you and say, you're being judgmental, you're not letting people be who they are and this kind of thing. But all these labels honestly is really confusing.
Right.
It's confusing. And it's mud in the water when it's just clearly one thing.
It's deliberate, and it's also the breakdown of the family. It's all points to the breakdown of the family structure.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a man and woman procreating anymore.
Right. A few years ago, we had teacher development, and we were told that you have to call the children whatever they tell you to, whatever they say they want to be called. So I had a little boy. He wanted to be called, I'll make up a name. He wanted to be called Debbie. And even the students were saying, Mr. Keaton, how come you never call so-and-so Debbie? And I said, I do address him. His last name was like Robinson. Every time I talked to him, I said Robinson. I wasn't going to call the little boy Debbie. I refused to. If they had said anything, I was ready to go to court. But I would say Robinson. He was really, and nobody in the class could say I treated him any differently. I was really nice to him. But I'm not calling a 7th grade boy by a girl's name. And I just said Robinson, the whole year.
Well, remember, you have to reflect on what Malcolm X said when he said, when you put the education of your children in the hands of your enemy, your children will become your enemy.
Right.
That's why we have to have these little tussles with our children sometimes, because we have somebody else teaching our children and putting their values in our children.
Yep.
So we have to, really monitor what's going on, and
Yeah. Right now in circle time at school, not so much now that they're at home, but when they were going to school, their circle time, it used to be like talk about your morning or something good that happened to you yesterday, or what's your favorite color, or like some icebreaker thing that get you comfortable, get you into the school day. Now is you say your name and then you say your pronouns. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out what the heck these pronouns were for like a month. And I was like, I had to ask somebody, like, what are they talking about? So the kids get in a circle, they say their name, and then they have to say she, her. Some people were saying we, they, and I'm like, what is this nonsense? And my husband said, that's straight brainwashing. That's what that is. And they condition them to think that it can change and that you get to pick and choose at a whim.
Well, the thing is that they made sex education for kindergartners mandatory in Chicago. Sex education mandatory, and what they do is mainly focus on homosexuality.
Yeah, I fell out with a teacher over that when my 16-year-old was I guess she was probably 4 because it was preschool. And the short of the story is, one of the instructors was a homosexual male. He was a nice gentleman, but he dressed like Boy George minus the hats. And he was the dance teacher. He was also an assistant teacher. And my daughter refused to participate. And so they called me. She won't participate. I have a conversation when she said, Mr. George scared me. I said, why? I don't know. I don't like Mr. George. I said, why you don't like Mr. George? He's a very nice man. Well, because he looked like a man. And this is wallahi, we never had talks about sexuality around our kids before a certain age. So it wasn't a conversation she heard us have. This was her own coming to terms with it, trying to figure out. She said, well, he's a man, right? I said, yes. Well, he looks like a woman. He acts like a woman, but he looks like a man. And I said, yes. And she said, I don't like it. That's her. She's like 4 years old. I said, okay, I get it. There are going to be people that you're going to come in contact with. You may not agree or understand their life. As long as they're not telling you to do anything wrong or anything that takes you away from what you believe, then you can get the education that they have. You can take that. So if he's not making you do something that's wrong, which is this dance, then participate in the dance class. But she still refused to do it. They called an old school meeting for me. Me and my husband had us sit down and told us we had to talk to her about Mr. George and have this talk about how he chooses to live his life. Well, it hit the fan because they kept pushing. So Kiki had to come out the bag, not that kid. Kiki had to come out the bag, and I just had to let them know. This is how this gonna go. She's 4. I'm not having a talk with my 4-year-old about sexuality. That's what the talk is not going to be about. We're not going to have this discussion. And if I find out you had a talk with her, it's going to hit the fan and I'm going to sue you guys. But before I left, I just decided, I said, you know what? Just forget it all together. We taking her out of here. She didn't have to be here. We have options. And so we took her.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what they doing.
Wow. All right. All right, y'all. It's 9:52. It's almost 10 o'clock. we didn't put it in tonight. So hopefully inshallah we'll get together again on the 22nd, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Great session. We'll close out with Surah Al-Ikhlas. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Kuhu Allahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Ameen. All right, y'all. All right.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, everybody.
You guys. Good night.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. All right, Sister Alfreda. Take care, good sister.
Rashid.
Yeah, I'm here.
Next time you say a prayer or whenever we say a prayer, maybe we can say it in Arabic and in English.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
What it actually means.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was
for people that might not be familiar with it.
Yeah, that's what I did with the Fatiha earlier.
Oh, okay, you did. I missed that. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's at the beginning of the meeting.
And also, Brother Rashid, when you say the name Allah, because most of us know it's Arabic for God, maybe you want to say that because we do have friends online that are Christian.
Well, that's why I was using it interchangeably. I was
saying he did go back and forth.
Yeah. So yeah, just so that yep. Perfect. All right, y'all.
Okay. All right. Take care. Be safe.
All right. You too, good brother.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.